Everyone together loudly. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. One more time. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Kids are so energetic. Thank you so much for coming today. On behalf of India Heritage Foundation Boston, I'm very much delighted to welcome you all for this special association by His Grace Suvyakta Narasimha Prabhu. His Grace Suvyakta Narasimha Prabhu is currently the temple president of Hare Krishna movement in Chennai, and he's also the governing body commission member. Prabhu joined ISKCON Bangalore in 1999, and since then he has been doing various services, and he has been very much instrumental in setting up the sprawling Vrindavan Chandrodaya Mandir. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
And Prabhu has also set up and operationalized many of the Akshaya Patra centers, kitchens in Jaipur, Vrindavan, and Lucknow. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu is also well known for his discourses on Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata, especially his lectures on Mahabharata have been trending recently in YouTube. So we are very fortunate to have Prabhu here to talk on most relevant topic for all of us, that is on Yuga Dharma. So what is the most important duty for us in this age of Kali Yuga? We'll be very fortunate to hear from Prabhu, and please welcome Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mokam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. About 5,000 years ago, around 3107 BC, is when one of the most important epochal events happened in the history of the world, which is when the Mahabharata war happened. As we all know, it was a battle between two cousin brothers. They were fighting to gain control over the kingdom. So that was the background, that was the setting against which the battle of Kurukshetra took place in modern day Haryana. So that battle of Kurukshetra, actually that was not the real important event. In fact, so many battles have been fought in the history of this world. So it is not something unique that happened at that point of time. What actually made this an epochal event was that the battle of the Kurukshetra became the platform for the Bhagavad Gita to be spoken. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, how did it begin? The brothers had been always at loggerheads with each other, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and finally it reached a flashpoint with Duryodhana refusing to return the kingdom to the Pandavas after they had fulfilled all the conditions in that game of dice. So that became the catalyst for the war to take place. So on one side we had the brothers who were wronged, and the other side we had Duryodhana and his 100 brothers who were wanting to usurp the kingdom unlawfully. So this became a Dharma Yuddha, a battle which was being fought on the grounds of religious or dharmic or rightful, just grounds. Now, naturally, when we see in this world, even today we come across many such instances. Two brothers fighting with each other, two relatives fighting with each other over some property, and they go to court, and we have got other ways, mechanisms of resolving all these things these days. Those days, they had to fight it out on the battlefield. Now, normal reaction whenever we come across such situation is, the person who has wronged, he wants to get back what is rightfully his at every cost. And he is ready to go to any extent to get justice. So, that was the mood in which the Pandavas also came to the battlefield. But what happened when Arjuna came to the battlefield and saw all the people arrayed there? He realized one thing, that this battle was going to be really a bloodshed. And who are the people who are going to be killed? It was not some unknown person or some enemy who was some other king who had no relation with them. It was his own people, his uncles, his brothers, his relatives, his teacher, his grandfather. So then, what happened? He, being faced with such a catastrophe which was about to happen, he could foresee the outcome of this battle is going to be a huge bloodshed where all his near and dear ones are going to get killed. So it was really a calamity which was going to happen. When Arjuna was faced with this calamitous situation, what was his reaction? His reaction, as he says in the Bhagavad Gita to Krishna, Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani. I am seeing everything looks like, all the symptoms I am seeing looks like everything is going to be adverse. There are going to be events which are going to happen which are not going to be auspicious. There is nothing good that is going to happen. I can see now all bad things are going to happen. And then what does he say? Na cha shreyo anupashyami. I don't see anything good that can happen now from now on. A classic case of depression. Depressed people, this is how depressed people think, Anything that they say, everything is negative. Nothing good is going to happen. Lost all hope. If modern day, if this incident were to happen modern day, everybody would recommend, okay, go and take this pill and this will solve your depression. But unfortunately, the battlefield is not a place where you can find a pharmacy, number one. And number two, in 3107 BC, you did not have all these modern medicines. So Arjuna was suffering from acute depression. Now in parallel, what was happening around the same time period, another thing also happened, a similar event. Vyasadeva, a great rishi, a great sage, a completely different personality. You can say a polar opposite of Arjuna. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was a king, he was a ruler, and he was fighting the battle to get back the kingdom. Vyasadeva, on the other hand, is a great rishi. He is a greatly renounced personality. He has nothing to do with the material world. And he wrote the entire Vedas, the 4 Vedas, the Atharva Veda, Yajur Veda, Rig Veda, Sama Veda. Then he wrote the 108 Upanishads. And then he wrote the Vedanta Sutras. And he also compiled the Mahabharata. All this he did. And after doing all this, you can imagine, on one side we have Arjuna, who was looking to get a kingdom, and he got depressed. Now, on the other hand, we have Vyasadeva, who has renounced this whole world. And he is working selflessly for the welfare of the whole world. And after compiling all the Vedas with the good intention of bringing about the welfare of the people, Vyasadeva had no other motive in writing all the Vedas than the welfare of the people, general mass of people, for ages to come together. That was his good intention. After compiling all this, what was his reaction? The Srimad Bhagavatam mentions, Asampanna iva bhati. he was introspecting, I am feeling incomplete. After doing all this, I'm not satisfied. I'm fully dissatisfied. Another case of depression. I'm feeling everything is vacant, asampanna, not satisfied, something is not okay. After having done so much, in today's world, if somebody writes one book and becomes a bestseller, then his whole life is, done. Now look at Vyasadeva, what all he has written. Our whole one life is not enough to read what all he has written. And after writing so much, and that too, he did not do to make it a bestseller and make money out of it. His intention was, this is all for the welfare of the people. After all that, what is he getting? He is also getting depression. So actually, both this Arjuna and Vyasadeva's experience is actually an indication for us that in this modern day world, all of us, no matter what we do, we will end up in depression. Whether we try to, in the material world, try to gain money, make a career and do, big things, or we renounce the world and then we engage in some activity for the welfare of the people, some charity, some activity like that. No matter what you do, you will not be satisfied. You will end up in depression. This is a very big reality, because in today's world, just reading the statistics, all over the world, 280 million approximately, that's an estimation, that 280 million people suffer from depression. I'm sure the figures must be far greater, because so many cases don't get reported. We are talking only of reported cases. About almost 300 million people all over the world are suffering from depression. And every year, out of that, almost 700,000 people commit suicide. Can you imagine that? So, and most of the people who commit suicide are in the age group of 15 to 29 years. The prime of one's youth, where one is supposed to be, doing big things, achieving great things in life, and all, one is full of energy and so much of aspirations. A person is committing suicide, being depressed. So, in this, from the life of Arjuna and from the life of Vyasadeva, we can understand, no matter what we do in this material world, in this modern age, in the age of Kali Yuga, we will not attain satisfaction and the sense of fulfillment which we are all looking for. So does that mean that we are all condemned, we can never be happy in this material world? No. From the life of Arjuna and Vyasadeva, we can see how they came out of this depressing situation they were in, they found themselves in. So in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was so despondent, he gave up everything and he sat down, no, I don't want to do anything, I just want to give up everything. That was, he was feeling so depressed. And Vyasadeva also, after doing everything, he was saying, I don't know why I am feeling dissatisfied totally. No satisfaction, no happiness, no peace of mind. That was the beginning. But in the end, what they did and what they went through, what it gave them a sense of fulfillment and happiness. So, we have to take the example from the life of Arjuna and Vyasadeva to understand what is it that in this modern day world will give us happiness and satisfaction. You see, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 3rd canto, there is a description of the life of Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni was one of the sons of Brahma. He was a great rishi, he was a great Muni. So, when Brahma, he created or he gave birth to various rishis, Marichi, Atri Rishi, so many rishis he gave birth to. One of them was Kardama Muni. And his instruction to all of them was to carry out the activities which will result in the population of this universe with various living entities. So he instructed Kardama Muni also to accordingly beget children who will be qualified and who will further propagate the humankind within this material world. So Kardama Muni felt that to carry out such a responsible task, I first need to carry out some austerities and please the Supreme Lord Vishnu, and with his blessings, then I can carry out my duty towards my father Brahma. So what he did, he engaged in Ashtanga Yoga along with worshipping the deity of Vishnu. And he did this for not 1 month, not 1 year, not 10 years, not 100 years, 10,000 years. 10,000 years he meditated and he did Ashtanga Yoga and worshipped the Supreme Lord, after which Lord Vishnu became pleased with him and appeared before him personally. So, to achieve that perfection of being able to come face to face with the Supreme Lord, which is the goal of all yoga practices, Kardama Muni had to undergo the process for 10,000 years. So, in modern day world, if we want to achieve the kind of perfection that Kardama Muni achieved, it is impossible to expect people to meditate for 10,000 years. We go to yoga classes, we do meditation for 15 minutes, half an hour, maximum 45 minutes. Beyond that, if somebody tells us to meditate, we'll fall asleep. Forget about 10,000 years. It's not possible. It's impossible. It is impractical. And we cannot expect that people of this age will be able to have the patience and the determination to be able to carry out the task for such long periods of time. We have our own so many compulsions, we have our own desires, we have our own so many desires which we want to fulfill. So where is the question of dedicatedly doing only this meditation, Ashtanga Yoga for 10,000 years? It's impossible. So the beauty of the Vedic scriptures is that they understand according to time, place and circumstance, we have to have different processes for the people to be able to follow and perfect their lives and achieve the sense of fulfillment and satisfaction we are all striving for. So the Vedas, they state that Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnum, this kind of lengthy periods of time, dedicating oneself totally to meditating and Ashtanga Yoga practice was possible only in Satya Yuga. This whole the whole cycle of a time goes in terms of 4 yugas according to the Vedas. One is Satya Yuga, after that comes Dwapara Yuga, then Treta Yuga, then Kali Yuga. So, and each has a specified time span. Kali Yuga, which we are presently in, out of which almost 5,000 years have passed, is expected to, or is it scheduled to last for 432,000 years, out of which 5,000 years have passed, so another 427,000 years are balanced. The previous age, which was in our current this one, it was Dwapara Yuga, was double this, 864,000 years. And the age previous to that was Treta Yuga, which was 3 times our current Kali Yuga's time span, which is about 1200,000 years, 1296,000 years approximately. Now, you go to the Satya Yuga, 4 times Kali Yuga. So that was 1600,000 years or 1700,000 years, whatever that figure, 17 lakh years. So now, all of these put together constitutes one Mahayuga, which comes to about 43,20,000 years, 4.32 million years. That is one Mahayuga. And so the time goes in cycles of these 4.32 million years of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. So Treta Yuga was so many billions of years previously, it has come and it has gone. During that time, people's lifespan was so long and their abilities in terms of concentration, in terms of meditation and all were far more developed. And so they could afford to, and they had the wherewithal to be able to do meditation for 10,000 years like Kardama Muni. So in Kali Yuga, the Vedas state, Ashtanga Yoga is not possible to be practiced, don't even try it. If you try it, you will end up in depression. So it will not work. Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnum Tretayam Yajato Makaihi. In the next stage, Treta Yuga was the age where big, huge sacrifices would be conducted. And when these sacrifices would be conducted, the kings who would conduct the sacrifices would have to give lots of charity. Gold in charity, cows in charity, tons and tons of grains in charity. So, the kind of opulence that existed at that time made it possible to be done. Today, it is very difficult, it is practically impossible to conduct such yajnas, such fire sacrifices, where huge amounts of charity can be done. So that is also not possible. And over and above that, even if you have the money and if you have tons of gold and if you have tons of grains and all that to give away, still to find expert people who can conduct such sacrifices is also a challenge. So it is not easy to find such people. So the Shastras, the Vedas state, that is also not possible in Kali Yuga. So then, Tretaya Majitomakai Dwapare Paricharyaya. In Dwapara Yuga, the system used to be to construct huge, magnificent temples and establish elaborate deity worship in the temples. That is how olden temples you will see, they are all so grand, so huge. Today, if you go to then they were all built by the governments of those times, the kings, the Cholas, the Pandyas, if you come to South India, if you come to North India, the kings of Bharatpur and all those people. They built huge temples, magnificent temples. But even in today's world, if you want to build a temple, if you go to the government and say, don't build the temple for me, just give me land, they will give you 800 square meters of land. In India, I am talking. So, in 800 square meters, what will you build? So, in Kali Yuga, it is impossible to establish such huge, magnificent monuments. Very rarely here and there something may happen, but that's not something which everybody can engage in the modern day age. So then what to do then? Kalau tad harikirtanat. Whatever result we could get by engaging in Ashtanga Yoga for 10,000 years like Kardama Muni, whatever we could get by conducting big yajnas and giving away tons of gold and grains in charity, whatever we could get by building such huge monumental temples and establishing very elaborate worship of the deities, can be achieved in the modern day age simply by engaging in Harikirtana. By singing Hare Krishna mantra, by singing the glories of Krishna, we can achieve the same result. And that was what Arjuna also understood, that was what Vyasadeva also understood, that in Kali Yuga, none of the other things will work. If we want to escape from the depressing world of the material activities, then only way is to engage in the glorification of the holy name of Krishna. Chanting Hare Krishna mantra, doing kirtan, sankirtan, singing Hare Krishna mantra, this is what can give us the sense of fulfillment and satisfaction we are all looking for. So, when we say Yuga Dharma, there are two connotations to the phrase Yuga Dharma. One connotation is that this is the process which is recommended for the age, which people can follow to be able to get that fulfillment and satisfaction that you are looking for. Another connotation is that Yuga Dharma means in this Yuga, whoever has taken birth as a human being, it is incumbent upon him, it is compulsory, it is obligatory for him to follow this path. The Dharma for each Yuga is different. The people of a certain Yuga are expected that they all have to follow this process. In Satya Yuga, everybody had to take up the process of Ashtanga Yuga. That is why the Vedas state, Panchashordham Manam Rajet. After once a person touches 50 years of age, he has to give up his home, take sannyas, go to the forest, engage in Ashtanga Yuga. That used to be the system. But modern day, we don't give up our homes and go to the forest at 50 years of age, right? 50 years of age, life starts. You retire and become a consultant and take up new projects. Life continues. So, Kali Yuga, that was a different age. The process was different. So, but then, in those ages, it was compulsory. Anybody beyond 50 years staying at home, people will be looking, what's wrong with you? Today, if somebody says, I'm going to take sannyas, I'm going to leave home, people will look at him and say, what's wrong with you? The situation is reversed. So, What was compulsory in the previous ages is not what is compulsory now. But there is something else which is compulsory for everyone, which everyone having taken birth in Kali Yuga, they all have to, they must follow this process, which is Sankirtana, Nama Sankirtana, the holy name of Krishna. And that is why you will find this common factor in every religion of the world. Whether you take Islam, whether you take Christianity, whether you take Sikhism, whether you take Hinduism, everywhere you will find this common factor, that engaging in glorifying the Supreme Lord's name, chanting or singing the glories of Krishna's holy name. Why? Because that is the Yuga Dharma. This is what is compulsory, obligatory for all of us to perform. So we cannot say that, okay, it is a matter of faith, it is a matter of belief. If you want, you can follow that. If you don't want, don't follow it. It's not like that. Once you have got the human form of life, you have to undergo this process. Otherwise, what is if I don't follow, what is the problem if I don't follow? I don't believe in all this. I don't want to do all this. I want to have a different kind of lifestyle. What is the problem? The problem is, just like it is said, if a person knows how to read and write, but he does not read anything, he is as good as an illiterate. Similarly, having got the human form of life, if you don't engage in this activity of Harinama, of Nama Sankirtana, then you are no better than an animal. Why? You are calling me an animal? I am so, sophisticated, I am doing so many things, I am doing this for society, I am achieving so many things. How can you call me an animal? Yes, that is because that is what the Shastras say. The Shastras say, Ahara Nidra Bhayamaitanam che etat samanyam pasubir narana. What is the difference between animals and human beings? Just because we walk on two legs doesn't mean that we become something different from animals. The fact is, if you look at all the activities that we do, it can be broken down into 4 fundamental activities: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Every activity that people do in this world, you can break down into one of these 4 things. And the Shastras state, etat samanyam pasubir narana. If you look at animals, they are also doing the same thing. Maybe the animal is doing it in the street, it is doing in a crude way, and we are sitting in a 5-star hotel, having a climate controlled atmosphere, and we are eating with a nice fork and spoon and knife and all that. Whereas the animal is sitting in the freezing cold, catching something and using its claws and its teeth and tearing it and eating it. Okay, but finally activity is the same. So eating, sleeping and mating and defending, if we polish it and improve the way of doing it, that does not make you different from the animals. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. But the human being has an ability to question about life, about understanding what is my dharma, what is my duty, which I am obligated to perform in this human form of life, what is the goal of life, what is the purpose of life. That is possible only for a human being to think. An animal can never think, what is the purpose of my life? Why am I born? What is the goal of life? Animal cannot think. He is simply driven by his animal instincts to engage in eating, sleeping, mating and defending. Now as human beings, if we use this faculty of being able to think of the goal of life, what is my goal of life? My goal of life is nicely eating. You are thinking just like an animal. You're thinking just like an animal. So we have to understand that the human beings can think of dharma. Having got the human form of life, what am I supposed to do with this human form of life, by which I can do something which is more than beyond this eating, sleeping, mating and defending, which animals are also doing. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho, dharmena hinaha pasubhi samanaha. And if you don't have the dharma in your life, you're no better than an animal. So in this modern day world, because this understanding is not there, that there is something called the dharma beyond eating, sleeping and mating and defending, what happens is, we utilize the developed consciousness and intelligence of the human life in these activities. It doesn't give us fulfillment. It doesn't give us satisfaction. we end up being depressed, being frustrated, getting angry, becoming bitter. All negative things fill our heart. So, actually speaking, unless we give that fulfillment to our human intellect of having a higher purpose in life, we cannot become peaceful and happy. We are running behind so many things in this material world, thinking that this will make me happy. If I have good food to eat, I'll be happy. If I hear some good music, I'll become happy. If I have a good job and I have got good money, I'll become happy. If I have a house, I'll become happy. If I have a car, I'll become happy. If I have a green card, I'll be happy. One after another we keep getting, but it doesn't bring the satisfaction because they're all within the realm of eating, sleeping, mating and defending. And as long as we are roaming in that circle of the animal propensities, we can never find the satisfaction and fulfillment we are looking for. So, that is why it is obligatory for human beings to follow the path of Dharma. And in Kali Yuga, what is that obligatory path of Dharma we have to follow? It is the path of Harinama Sankirtana. And when we engage in that, it is not that we are favoring somebody or doing something for somebody else. We are favoring ourselves. We are, by following that path of Dharma, we are creating for ourselves a happy life of fulfillment and a purposeful life, a meaningful life, which is the only thing which can really give us happiness and satisfaction. So, like we have seen in the life of Arjuna and Vyasadeva, no amount of charity, no amount of helping others, no amount of being good to others can give us the satisfaction and happiness. No amount of opulence, even if you get the rulership over the whole world, even then you cannot be happy. Because Arjuna was in that position. He was going to get the kingdom. He would become the emperor by which he could rule the whole world. Every other king would be subjugated to the emperors who were ruling from Hastinapura. That was the system that existed 5,000 years ago. So even if you get to rule over the whole earth, even then you cannot be satisfied. And we are running behind small things. This many $100,000 if I have in my bank, I'll be happy. If I have a job which pay me, now I'm getting $6,000 a month. If I get $12,000, I'll be happy. So, when Arjuna with the whole world could not become happy and satisfied, how can we become satisfied with these things? It is not possible. So, it's a pipe dream to run after these things. On the other hand, there are people like Bill Gates who have become the richest man in the world. And in 2005, when there was an interview with Bill Gates, he was asked, how does it feel like to be the richest man in the world? His response? We'll expect, this is really great, fantastic, this is the fulfillment of life. He didn't see any of those things. He said, I wish I were not the richest man in the world. There is nothing good that comes out of it. The man, whom we look at and we aspire, I should be like him. That man is reached there, the topmost position, richest man in the world. Whatever he wants, he can buy. Nothing is out of his grasp. And he is saying, Maja nahi. So, you see, no matter what we acquire in this material world, it will not give us the satisfaction and fulfillment we are looking for. And what is Bill Gates doing now? Having reached there, earned all the money, found no happiness, started giving it away. Make all charities, make Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, give away money. Is he satisfied after that? Even after that, he is not satisfied. So you earn money also not satisfied. You give away money also not satisfied. Then where is satisfaction? Same thing with Vyasadeva. He led a life of self-abnegation, a life of renunciation, dedicated his life for the welfare of the society and the people at large. Still not satisfied. So, if we want real happiness, then we have to understand that these things, earning money, having a good life, good job, good family, and having a good facilities in life, these things are not going to give me happiness. I do some charity, I help others, I am good to other people, this also cannot give you fulfillment. Prabhupada gave another wonderful example, which we as all Indians can relate with. Mahatma Gandhi fought for so many years for the country, gave up his career as a barrister, came to India and gave up his opulent life or whatever facilities he had, took on the dress of a mendicant. He wouldn't even wear an upper cloth. He just one dhoti and he lived like that. He lived in a Sabarmati ashram. We all know about that. And how much he struggled to get independence. Finally, after all that, independence came on August 15, 1947. After that, Mahatma Gandhi did say, now I am fully satisfied. I am fully, I'm fully happy. Now I have reached the goal of my life. On the other hand, what did he say? After that, he said, Mahatma Gandhi's response after a few months or years of our independence, he said, only death can give me peace now. A man who dedicated his life for the welfare of the people with a goal and determinedly followed that and got the goal, he is saying, Maja nahi aaya. So, whether you live a life of full selfishness and self-gratification, or you live the opposite life of self-abnegation, both ways you cannot find happiness in this life. Why? Because that's not the Yuga Dharma. The Yuga Dharma is that we have to engage in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is the Yuga Dharma, means this is the only way to achieve satisfaction and happiness within the current day world. And therefore, it is incumbent upon all of us, obligatory for all of us, having got the human form of life, to engage in this activity. Otherwise, what is the use of getting such a valuable form of human form of life and then engaging in animalistic propensities and ultimately getting frustrated and bitter and angry? What is the use? So therefore, the Yuga Dharma, as it is stated in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita and all the Vedic scriptures, intelligent people, as Bhagavatam says, that the intelligent people in Kali Yuga will take up the process of Sankirtana, seeing how all other activities can never bring us that happiness and satisfaction we are looking for. And that is why Srila Prabhupada also, whatever I have spoken in such a long period of time, Prabhupada summed it up very beautifully and simply. Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So simple, succinct way, Prabhupada has told us, this is what will really make us happy. And this is what is expected of us by Krishna also, that we engage in chanting Hare Krishna, and that too, Sankirtana also we do, the more satisfaction and happiness we can derive. So, this is what I had to share with all of you. If anybody has anything to share or add on or any questions, I'll be happy to try to reply. Anybody? Yes, please. Can you speak into the mic, please? No? So you're all fully convinced of the Yuga Dharma. Wonderful, very nice. So, Sadananda Prabhu. What do we have now? Next program?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Wonderful
Hare
Yuga
Krishna.
Dharma. And next we have Kirtan. We'll continue Kirtan till 7 p.m. At 7 p.m. we will have Gaura Aarti and followed by Narasimha Aarti and then Prasadam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, as we know that only the chanting can give us the happiness. So as we know that only the chanting can give us the happiness. But even then, sometimes it is very difficult to manage the family life. So means how to understand that and.
Yeah. So actually, we are caught up with so many responsibilities, our daily life, because of which it may be difficult for us to practice the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So, there may be temporary phases in life where we might have a difficulty in being able to allocate enough time. But we should be always aware and conscious of the fact that I have to be able to schedule my life in such a way that I'll be able to give more and devote more and more time for chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So, it is said that Srila Prabhupada also used to often quote this saying that God helps those who helps themselves. So we take small steps at a time. We begin with all of us, for that matter, we all devotees, temple devotees also. We didn't start chanting with 2 hours every day or something like that. We all started in a small way. Started with chanting one mala, dedicate about 10 minutes in a day of 24 hours for chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Gradually, as time went by and as we started realizing how this is really the thing which I was looking for, we automatically will start finding time for it. It all depends on what appeals to us as really important for us in our life. So we start and we put in our efforts, and Krishna will give the intelligence and Krishna will give the facilities for us to be able to practice more and more. Is that okay? Yes, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
So it sounds counterintuitive that you devote your life in doing like charity giving, and still like that is you're not because that is what we are told, right? Like help others, do good things, right? And that is what you'll go to Vaikuntha, whatever, right? You'll get out of this cycle of life and birth. So it's strange that you're saying that will not give happiness with just chanting Hare Krishna. So can you just elaborate?
Yeah, actually, the process of giving charity and helping others and being good to others, it's not condemned. I did not condemn that. I only said that if the satisfaction and the happiness you are looking for, it cannot come from that. Ultimately, you are doing good to others, helping others, and all these kind of things can take you up to Swarga only. It can take you up to the heavenly planets. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that the Punaravartino Arjuna, if you go to the heavenly planets, after spending some time there, again we have to come back to this earthly planet, and again resume the whole process. And even if we go to the heavenly planets, still the problems of birth, death, disease, and old age will continue there also. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadim Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. One of the items of knowledge, what constitutes knowledge? One of the items of knowledge is to be able to perceive that the real problems in life which need a solution, which need our burning attention, is the problems of birth, death, disease, and old age. So those problems, to be able to solve them permanently, can be possible only when we engage in spiritual activity, which begins with chanting Hare Krishna mantra and serving Supreme Lord Krishna. So serving others you can still do on the spiritual platform. If you spread the message of the Bhagavad Gita, you tell others to engage in the Yuga Dharma, if you do this, that is also a charitable activity. But the degree of charitable activity, it is the highest charitable activity. The example is given, Prabhupada gave a wonderful example. You see some guy in the street, he is suffering. He is poor, he is wearing torn clothes, doesn't have food to eat, so he is struggling. And you think how to help him. One way is to buy him a meal and feed him. Another way, you try to figure out, this guy I know, somewhere I have seen him. Then you remember, oh, this guy is actually the son of that billionaire. And you go and tell him, what are you doing on the street? He says, no, I've forgotten who I am, I don't know where I am, what I am doing, I'm struggling. And you tell him, no, bhaiya, you are not meant to be like this. Your father is a billionaire, come, I'll take you to him. And you take him to the father. What happens? All his problems are solved. He doesn't have to bother about clothes, food, place to stay, everything is solved. So, like that in this material world, people are suffering for various things. All the sufferings of the people is because they have forgotten their connection with Krishna. So if we help those people connect back to their original Supreme Father Krishna, and Krishna is the Supreme Lord, He is the owner of all the universes, He is the proprietor of everything, He is the biggest well-wisher that we can have. If we connect back with Him, all our problems can get permanently solved. So there is a place for charity, there is a place for doing good things to others, there is a place for all these things, but we have to understand that is not the highest beneficial activity we can do. Wherever possible, we can try to help someone, no harm in that. But we also try to see what is the highest benefit I can give to this person. Somebody is hungry, feed him Krishna Prasadam. And you tell him, whenever you have time, you please chant Hare Krishna. So you not only fed him for one time, you have also given him the highest solution by which he can permanently get out of the cycle of birth and death within this material world. So, charity has its place. It's not that charity is condemned or we should not do charity, but we have to also understand that that is not the highest goal of life. So, we have a proper vision, a balanced view of the whole world, and accordingly we function within this material world. So, Arjuna and the Pandavas, they were great devotees of Krishna. Did they not do charity? Did they not help others? Yes, they did it. So we have to understand that being a devotee of Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, doesn't mean I stop doing all charity, I stop helping others. No, that's not what it means. So these things of acting, doing charity and all these kind of things will become meaningful when we add Krishna to our lives and the lives of others. Understand? Like Prabhupada used to give the example, somebody is drowning. If somebody is drowning, we go and want to help him, we go and pull out his shirt, and then we flap the shirt, I saved the guy, I saved the guy. What are you talking about? You have to pull the guy out of the water and you have to save him. So similarly, the body is a dress for the soul. We are forgetting the soul and we are simply taking care of the body. Feed the body, take care of the body, this problem, that problem, all mental problem, whatever problem I have is all related to the body. So we forget the soul and we simply take care of the body, it's not going to help. If I take care of the soul, the body will also get taken care of. Is that okay? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thanks for the class. We come across a lot of people who actually say, I got a lot of time to do all of that. Chanting, or if at all we tell them to chant or come to the temple and read Bhagavad Gita and all these, they say, this is not for this time, later in the time.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on how to convince those kind of people, Prabhu?
See, Prabhupada gave another wonderful example to illustrate this. Suppose a man is, let us say he is hungry and he has not eaten for, let's say, 3 days in a row. The guy is famished. So he is looking, where can I get food? At that time you give him a plate of some sukha roti, some dry, old, stale bread or roti. That guy, what he will do? Something I got to eat, lap it up. Now, when he is lapping up that stale bread, that time you bring another plate of steaming hot chapatis soaked in ghee and palav and paneer, sabji and all this kind of stuff, and you come and keep it before him. What will he do? He will he think, no, my stale bread, this is more important. Will he say that, or will he take up the plate with the more tasty food? Naturally, he'll give up the bread and he will start eating the tasty food, isn't it? So the point is, as long as we don't have a taste for a higher thing, the lower thing will appeal to us. Because we are hungry. We are hungry for happiness. That is what we are all searching for in this material world. Happiness and satisfaction. We are hungry for that. And material world is putting up so many stale breads in front of us. There is money, there is power, there is beauty, like this, so many things, so many stale breads have been aligned in front of us. And we are hungry, so what we will do? Chalo, something is there, start eating. So, as long as we have only the stale bread in front of us, it will be appealing to us. So the only way the person can become interested in chanting and all those kind of things is for him to develop a taste for that. Now, how to make him develop a taste for that? That unless the person himself, he tastes the nectar of chanting Hare Krishna and reading Bhagavad Gita, no matter how much you may explain to the other person, he will not be able to understand it. It's like, suppose you have never tasted honey. I bring a bottle of honey in front of you and tell you, honey is so sweet, it's like this, it's like that. I mean, it will not make this one impact upon you. You take a spoon, take the honey and put in your mouth. Oh, this is the sweetness of honey. So the point is, we have to figure out how to give them a taste of Krishna consciousness. If we simply go and tell them that, this is so nice, you come, this, that and all that, if the person has if he is open-minded, he will come. Otherwise, he will not. So that is why Prabhupada created so many avenues to give us that taste. There is Sankirtan, beautiful music, beautiful tunes of singing the Hare Krishna mantra. There is the philosophy. Somebody who is intellectually inclined, read the philosophy. Somebody is interested in stories, read the Krishna book. Somebody is not interested in all of those things. One thing will definitely interest him. What is that? Prasadam. So, see, you yourself know, I don't have to tell you. So, if somebody is showing no interest at all, go and give him some prasadam. Hey, I got some prasadam for you. 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, after that man's mind will start working. If prasadam itself is so sweet, what else this guy is enjoying? Let us go and see. So eventually it will attract. So it will have its effect. So according to the person, according to the level of his openness, we have to use our intelligence which Krishna has given, expose them to different aspects of Krishna consciousness. Beautiful paintings, beautiful music, beautiful philosophy, beautiful prasadam, beautiful singing, beautiful dancing. So many things are there. Something or the other will be there which will attract the people. I started my spiritual life how? I would go to the temple, Bangalore ISKCON temple, on Sunday mornings. And there would be the Bhagavatam class. I would not understand anything of what the devotees would be giving class. I'll be thinking, what is he talking? Not able to understand. But half an hour, 45 minutes, patiently sit. Why? Because after that, wonderful, tasty khichdi with that papad is coming. I'm waiting for that. That was the motivation to come. And finally, what happened? I landed up here. So, prasadam is very powerful. Nobody can deny the taste of prasadam. Nobody can say, no, I don't want prasadam. So these are all various things that Prabhupada has given, by which we can expose the people to a higher taste. Once they develop the taste, automatically they will get pulled into the ocean of Krishna consciousness. Is that okay? Hare Krishna.